This is the top 10 Starbucks gals that I know. I'm a big Starbucks deal. Jan asked me to do this. I talked to the gals and asked them if it was okay. And so I'm just going to run through them. You know, Cowboy Steve goes to Starbucks every day, and mainly the Safeway Starbucks. I know all the ones, you know, up and down the coast. Everywhere there's a Safeway that I've worked, you know, you just go in there every day when or I do. And you know, you meet these people. So like the first one that I recall is Maxine. Maxine was at one here in Vancouver because my daughter's wedding was like a surprise. You know, we were supposed to be so Maxine did my daughter's pictures and cake for us. And you know, I got to be friends with Maxine, and she even invited us to her mom and dad's for Christmas and all that stuff. She's just a real good gal. At the same time, she was working with a gal named Rihanna, and Rihanna worked at the same place, and she was studying to be a sheriff, or not sheriff, but worked for the sheriff. And I think she does now, as a matter of fact. But there was probably about 4 times, ironically, where somebody would be giving her or Maxine a problem, you know, just going way over the top on complaining about their drink. And so we got to be pretty good buddies because I would always keep an eye on her and stuff like that. And it went a little further than that with straightening out the people that were coming in. Being abusive to her, I guess, is the word you'd use. Okay, and at the same Starbucks, there's a gal that I've known. She's a Filipino. Her name is Regina. We even went to dinner or went to lunch with her and her husband. She was having some medical issues that she went through. I've known her for like 15 years, so I still see her. And then you go up to the Safeway that I'm going to now, and there was 2 Sophies. So Sophie number 1 had been there quite a while. She was a manager there, and she's now gone on and is in the nursing field. And the thing that I remember about her was she was super organized. I mean, I don't think she's 21, 22 at the most. And she had talked about having a pantry. I'm like, pantry? Yeah, so she was that organized where she already had a pantry at that age. I'm like, I don't think I've got one of those yet. But she was one of those that if something happened, you'd go, well, you'd call Sophie. Sophie would fix it. Sophie number 2 worked at the same place. She's now back up at Washington State University. She had to leave early because she was whatever you are when you're the head of the sorority. So she had to leave like a few weeks before everybody else did go back to school. I liked her because the first time I met her, I think I was having a borderline bad, you know, crabby about my drink or something, and it wasn't, nothing really happened, but I think I apologized to her the next time. She wouldn't let me apologize. She said it was her fault. I was like, no, it was my fault. Anyhow, she just a sweet gal. Okay, then and then you go to Hayden. Hayden works there at the same one. She's never been in a bad mood in her life. And the funny thing about Hayden is her and her boyfriend, she goes to concerts. So she's a Swiftie, right? Okay, so she goes up to Seattle, had been planning. I think they stayed 2-3 days. Now, check this out. She goes on the complete other side of the globe. Her dad's taking her to Metallica. So you got Metallica and Taylor Swift. There you go. That's her broad spectrum. Josie has been there quite a while. She's super feisty. She might smack you if you get out of line in there. I really like her. She's super nice. Doesn't sound like it, but she is. She's really nice. She's territorial there at that place. Okay, and then you got Trin. Trin is a Vietnamese gal, pretty gal. They all are. And she's got a new boyfriend, meaning she'll be mad at me if she sees this, if it's wrong, 7 or 8 months. And they go to these clubs every couple of weeks where they got the mosh pit. I guess that's what it's still called. They go in there, and she said, Steve, what if I come back with a bloody nose? So she goes to those, and if you met her, you go, there's no way. Ariel, just like the cartoon. Okay, so Ariel is just money. You come in, you might be walking around the store. If she knows you're coming to Starbucks, your drink's gonna be ready when you get to the cash register. If there's a long line, she's already got it ready. And she had bright red hair, natural. I think she's naturally redheaded. I haven't asked her for a long time, and one day she's got just stone gothic black, and I'm like, well, it couldn't have grown out. I'll just have to ask her. I'll just have to break into it and just ask her. Okay, and then we got a new gal. We got a new gal that came from Great Britain, Kira, and of course I love her accent, and I figured out now that I like the British accent better than the Aussie. Of course, I could be swayed on that. She worked 4 years over there in a Starbucks and some of the drinks are different. I didn't know that, so their drinks are different. Okay, that's 10 of them right there that I just went through. And number 11 is not a Starbucks gal, but I've known her just as long. The whole family has. So Laura Reeder, I said your name, Laura. I'll see you at Salty's. She's the manager at Salty's, which is a high-end restaurant on the Columbia River. I think there's one in like Redondo Beach or something like that. There's one in California, I think, and one up in Seattle. And years ago, we used to see each other like every day. She'd come in there and get coffee at the Safeway Starbucks when I'd get coffee at the same Safeway Starbucks. So I've known Laura, and she's not an employee there, like I said, and her husband, big good-looking son of a gun, 6'4", 6'5". She's got 2 kids, both studs, playing basketball right now in high school, and I think one of them's, well, they're senior and a junior, senior and a sophomore. But anyhow, so I had to put her in there because that's from a Starbucks. So all these people I've met at Starbucks, and I can probably tell you most of theirs, semi-close to their life stories. So when I ask you how you're doing, and you tell me, I actually remember it. I know what you're doing, and anyhow, they're the ones that kind of keep me propped up because I hit them all. When I was working at the coast, one of the places, Coos Bay. Okay, so Coos Bay has a Safeway. They have a Starbucks. But when I was further down the coast, like in Gold Beach or something, they didn't have one. So I'd have to drive, 50 miles back up. Well, I figured out that if I went south 30 miles to Brookings, I could go into they had a Fred Meyer that had a Starbucks. So as much as I don't really rely on Starbucks coffee, I rely on going in and meeting those people. And is that weird?